friends, it's Anna, and I'm here with empties after, I believe it's been 3 weeks since I recorded. It's been a lot longer than that since I posted a video. I have some videos that I'll probably post things out of order, or I may post things in order, so you may, all of this may be old news by the time you see it, but I have 3 or 4 videos backlogged that I need to post. I know I'm behind. And then I have, I believe this is 3 weeks. It's either 2 or 3 weeks worth of empties here to go through with you today. Let's see. Vendor wax. I'm gonna make sure that I do all the things appropriately. I'm just organizing things so we can go through it relatively quickly in a minute. This one is okay. Down here. Sorted out, and then we'll go quickly through these empties. Maybe I shouldn't have started the video quite yet. I'm sorry, but give me just a minute. We'll go through this. Okay. Okay, so I have everything out. As we typically do, we're going to go through the non-wax items first. And then we'll go through the wax items. This is 2 weeks worth because I have 2 cotton cleanups here. I won't be able to use that to tell how many weeks here before long because I'm running out of my pack and I need to get some more, but there'll be a season of time when I don't have them because I refuse to order just the cotton cleanups. So, but this is 2 weeks worth because I have 2 used cotton cleanups here. Okay, I have this tube of Nourish. This is a 4-ounce tube. Nourish, as you can see, it's Jamberry branded. This was our very good hand cream. It was considered unscented, but to me it did have a very, very light citrus scent, but it was so light that you could pair it with anything. Jamberry has been gone for a number of years now, but I still have some of the product. I had used up my little sample packets of the Nourish. This was my last tube of the Nourish lotion. I used this for a while in conjunction with my Japanese Cherry Blossom body wash because the lotion was a partial bottle when I started it, and the wash was a full bottle, so the lotion finished before the wash did. On that note, I did finish my bottle of Japanese Cherry Blossom body wash. This is a beautiful scent. so pretty. Such a pretty floral. There, you can see water down in there because I milk this to the very end. So that's where I put water in it to make the last of it come out. And I just finished that on Wednesday evening. So I had a partial set of the butterfly body mist, lotion, and shower gel. It was a partial in the fall. I found some pumpkin stuff and put butterfly away. That's what I now am using in my shower. The Japanese cherry blossom is Asian pear, fresh mimosa petals, white jasmine, blushing sandalwood. And this was the floral scent that I used this year. I started using this the beginning of February and finished using it the middle of May, which for a brand new full shower gel bottle is not bad. Got through that. So my Japanese cherry blossom set is completely gone. Bath and Body is another area of my life where I'm trying to minimize what I'm bringing in and use up what I have. I have gone through 3 wallflower bulbs in my diffuser, the ends of wallflower bulbs. One of those was the Falling Flurries. One was Strawberry Pound Cake, and one was a Laundry Day that I had pulled from our hallway. I went through these in my oil diffuser. I used 4 Scentsy testers in the bathroom over the last 2 weeks. One in Iridescent Pearl. I gotta get these on the screen. One in Mahalo Coconut. One in Aloe Water and Cucumber. And finally in the bathroom, Aloha Citrus. That's what we've done in the bathroom over the last 2 weeks. I used pairs of testers 3 times in the library. One time I did coconuts for coconuts. Turn these, I want to get them where you can see them. Another pair that I did was of Skinny Dippin'. Skinny Dippin' is just a very tropical, fruity coconuts for coconuts. Smells like your sunscreen for the beach, like you're getting ready for the beach and you're putting your sunscreen on. And then, for those that don't know, it is currently Saturday evening, May 16th, and yesterday, the 15th, was my birthday. I love watermelon scents. So, to treat myself for my birthday, I put watermelon tangerine in the library. And there are both of those. The couple of times that we were not doing Scentsy tester clean out, I did Balm Dia Bright from L3. This was gifted to me by Melissa Haight back in August. And as you can see, this was poured in May of 2023, so this was 3 years old. It was beautiful. I don't know if it was because it was 3 years old or what, but it only lasted a day. And then gifted to me from Angela over at Angela's Melting Moments from Hayden Row, which I know, we all know Hayden Row is closed. But this was one of Hayden Row's sampled ducky samples in the scent Fizzy Pop. Those were split and done in the library. The Fizzy Pop went for 3 days. The Bum Dia Bright, I don't know if it was because it was 3 years old or what, but it was a 1 day and done. But it was a beautiful perfume while it was going. It is a dupe for the Bum Dia Bright perfume. Anyway, that is what I have, and I know, again, for 2 weeks it's not a ton, but I did clear some things out, and I'm very proud of it. I will not be home very much this week to melt, because tomorrow we will be at church in the morning, and then we're going to Japanese hibachi to celebrate my birthday. My grandparents are meeting us there, and I'm going home with my grandparents to stay the majority of the week. I'm actually going to be teaching a Wednesday night Bible class for some 5th, 6th, and 7th grade girls. I am very excited about this. I'm a teacher at heart. And what makes this even more special is the lady whose class I'm going to teach for the week used to be my Sunday school teacher. So it's like, it's a full circle moment, and I'm so excited. But that, in order to do that, I need to be with my grandparents, because this is occurring at my grandparents' church. So I'm going to go home with them after lunch tomorrow. I will go to church with them tomorrow evening. Then I will come back to their house and I will spend the night tomorrow night, and I'll be with them just hanging out all day Monday night, all day Tuesday night, and most of the day Wednesday. We will go to the church around 5 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. I will set up some craft materials. I will set up the materials for my lesson. The kids will come about 6. They feed them first. And then I'll do about a 10-minute lesson and a craft time with them. It's their last night of their Awana program for the year, so I'm very excited that I get to do a fun closeout of the Awana year with them. But that means there'll be a few days I will not be melting very much. But then I come home Thursday evening, and my parents are actually going out of town on Friday. For those of you that don't know, Monday will be 3 weeks since my dad had surgery. Some pretty major cardiac surgery. And he was originally written out of work for a month. But his cardiologist that did the surgery and the cardiothoracic surgeon, they teamed up together to do the surgery. This was at Emory. I was very pleased because I felt very comfortable with the doctors that he had. Just because of some things I know about Emory. My mom was not thrilled, but I could not be more happy with the doctors he had, the care that he received, any of the things that happened. But they cannot see him for 6 weeks, which is very typical because Emory is such a large hospital and they're so popular. They could not see him for his post-op for 6 weeks. And they don't want him going back to work until he has been seen. So, he is still written out of work. He goes for his follow-up appointment on June the 9th, which would mean that he would probably start back to work the following week. That following week, when he will likely be starting back to work, is my parents' anniversary. Their anniversary is June 15th. They were planning to go out of town for their anniversary. He doesn't want to take off work for a vacation so soon after coming back from surgery. So they got to looking at where they could go and what they could do, like now while he's still out. And actually, yesterday they found, through Margaritaville at Sea's Heroes discount program, my mom being a nurse, they can go on a cruise with taxes and port fees and even an upgrade to their room. It ended up being like $400. Period. That's everything. And so they will leave on Friday the 22nd. And they will go on they'll drive. And I believe the ship leaves on Sunday, the 24th. So they're going to be gone for a few days. That means I'll be back home and my warmers will be going and pretty much all week, because I don't drive. So when they're not home, my brother being a paramedic that works 24-hour shifts, I will leave the house very minimally. So that means my warmers will run for the majority of that week. So I will catch up on the wax that I'm not warming being gone this coming week. I'll catch up when I come home, and I'll be the one home taking care of our 3 dogs and doing all of that stuff. So I'll be here basically the entire week. And I'll catch up with my wax. So you'll see videos. I do plan to still have a video post that weekend, because as I said, I have a backlog of videos to post. So even though I will not have been warming for a few days, I'll post one of those backlog videos. And I probably am going to post this one first, just so you know what's going on. But I will post those. I'll post one of those backlog videos next Saturday, the 23rd. And then I'll get back sort of in a more of a routine of warming and recording and warming and recording. It will take me still a few weeks. There might even be a couple weeks of you getting double videos, just because I need to get that backlog posted. But I did want to go through the handful of things that I have managed to warm in the past couple of weeks, because I'm proud of it. And I feel like even though it's not a ton, I am working through my collection of waxes, and I am so thankful to have such an amazing collection of waxes. I just need to do this before I end this video. This is a shout out to some of our vendors. There have been a lot of complaints about the longevity and the lasting power and the strength in general of Scentsy bars recently. I have not experienced a lot of that, because the recent things I have bought have been my club, which have probably been sitting in the warehouse curing, right? So I have not experienced a lack of strength, but I know it's been a complaint. I just want to give a shout out to our vendors. I know I talk about vendor wax. I show things that I've used. I don't really say a lot about, quote, favorite vendors or least favorite vendors anymore, because I feel like that's not particularly fair to the vendors, or I did for a while. But I do want to give a shout out, because over the past about 2 years, she has quickly become my absolute favorite vendor. I used to say, without question, my all-time favorite vendor was Jim's Daughter Crafts. Michelle was amazing. I had a custom blend with her. She still pours wax, but not as frequently as she used to. And so I don't... It's not that I dislike her wax, but she's not as involved in the community as she used to be. So her stuff is harder to find. So I don't really want to promote her and then people be struggling to find her wax. In fact, the custom that I created with her, I'm going to see if I can get created either this exact same or something very close with another vendor. And if you don't know, I would say my current top favorite vendor is Lavender and Speckles. Miss Beth. Miss Beth and her husband Matt are the sweetest humans on the planet. They make amazing wax. If you know me, you know that solid white wax is not my favorite. I have even said when it comes to Scentsy, I will only buy white wax from now on with Perfect Peppermint, which is going to be funny as we've made the transition and they're starting to go to more neutral colors and more of the waxes are white. It probably means you'll see me ordering a lot less Scentsy and using only basically licensed bars of Scentsy and a few that I've had in my club that I will keep getting, and I just pray that they don't change the color of the wax. Just because they're there for sentimental reasons. But you're probably going to see me start warming a lot less Scentsy if they start giving me a lot more white bars, because I don't typically use white bars. And so what I'm going to do with Scentsy is if they change a bar and they give me a white bar, then that bar's coming out of my club. Unless it is Perfect Peppermint. And I will not get that bar anymore. And so, actually that might be a good way to save money. Maybe they need to start giving me more white bars so I don't want to buy as much. But typically I don't like white wax because I can't. It's harder for me to tell when I've gotten it out of the dish and all those things. Because it goes clear when you warm it. I have 100% made an exception to that with Miss Beth, with Lavender and Speckles. All of her wax is white. I don't care. I love her wax. Because I love her business. I love her heart. I love her ministry. Y'all know, you've heard me talk about when I have had Lavender and Speckles empties. I rave about them for much longer than I should for a simple going over it in empties. But I needed to give her this shout out here because they use their wax business as a ministry. And they don't just say that. They live that. They live it out. You guys, I've ordered customs with her once. I ordered 2 bags of her blend lavender tea and cakes. It started out, I believe, as a Pride and Prejudice blend, but then it was so popular that she just changed the name of it and keeps it on her master list. I ordered 2 bags of that because that was a very sentimental, special one. If you've heard me tell the story, you know. I'm not going to tell the whole story here because I'm already making this video longer than I should. But I ordered 2 of her 24 count shape bags of that. And for those of you that don't know, I cut her shapes in half. I don't like chopping. Again, another exception I make because of Beth. I cut her shapes in half. Because that's how powerful her wax is. I don't need but a half a shape to get a good, solid 24 to 48 hours performance on a scent. So I ordered 2 bags of her 48 shape count lavender tea and cakes almost a year ago. At that same time, I ordered 1 24 count bag of her blend fluffy marshmallow tea and cakes because I had realized that it was the tea and cakes oil that was making the difference. At that point, I needed to create 1 custom blend with her that was based on the way that I pictured a story that my Rita had told me. And so I told Beth, here's the scene I want to set. And I told her the story and I gave her the picture. And we created a blend that I am so honored that she did for me and for my precious Rita. We call that blend Mornings with Evelyn. And if you've heard me tell the story, you know. I'm not going to tell the whole story here because I'm making this video longer than I should. But Miss Evelyn was my Angel Rita's mama. And we call this blend Mornings with Evelyn. It is her Vanilla Surf, which, if you don't know, is Beth's take on Scentssy's Vanilla Waves. Which, if you don't know, Vanilla Waves is coming back starting Monday to be eligible to be clubbed to the end of the month. So if you love Vanilla Waves, if Vanilla Waves was a Scentsy heartbreak, reach out. I can help you out, or your current consultant can help you out. We can get you hooked up with Vanilla Waves forever, starting Monday. But, Beth created a version of Vanilla Waves that she calls Vanilla Surf. So that, paired with her tea and cakes oil, which I've had other vendors' tea and cakes oil, and there are other good ones out there, but none of them are as special as Miss Beth's. So, Vanilla Surf, tea and cakes, and then she did just a hint of espresso oil. Just to be like, you have a vanilla candle going, you're having a cup of coffee, and you're making your tea for the day. That's the really short version of the story, but I could set the scene so much better, but that is exactly the vision I had, is what she created. Then I said to her, we need a Christmas version. And we came up with Evelyn's Perfect Christmas. It is so beautiful. I love it. I don't even remember everything she put in it, so I hope she wrote it down. Because that's just how much trust I put in her, that I know that she will remember the things that mean the most. And she has duplicated Mornings with Evelyn beautifully twice now, So I trust her to do the Christmas one when we need to duplicate it beautifully. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I'm actually excited to do Christmas in July just to have an excuse to melt some of it again because it's so special. And that one, like, when I did not tell Marita about these, and I just got them, and then I showed her, and she, oh my gosh, when I showed her the bag for Evelyn's Perfect Christmas, y'all, it was so sweet. Not only did Miss Beth do that, and I can message her and say, hey, I need more of XYZ, and she will get me invoiced, and she pours it as soon as I pay her. I mean, she's just amazing like that. Many of you know our community friend, Melissa Ferguson. Sweet woman has been through more. In a lot of ways, she reminds me of my angel. Because she's been through more than any one person should ever have to go through in their life. Yet she carries it with so much grace. Oh my God, I'm not going to cry. Y'all, I'm sorry, bear with me. I'm not going to cry on this video. And she has had unfathomable tragedy. That it's not my place to tell the story, and so I won't. But I knew that we needed to create a very specific blend for her. And there's nobody that I trusted more than Miss Beth. And so I reached out and I sent her a message and I said, here's what I need you to do. Can you do it? And I was so obsessive about this being perfection that it actually took multiple oil suppliers for us to find what we needed. But Miss Beth was so patient with me, and she kept working until we found what was right. And then she created the blend. And following my timeline perfectly and exactly, she sent it to Miss Melissa for me. There are not many vendors I feel like you could reach out like that and have your vision executed so perfectly, literally to a T. And if you've ordered from Beth before, you know she always puts Bible verses on her labels. There is one specific verse we always use on the Evelyn blends. And Miss Beth knows why we use only that verse on those blends. And so I always remind her, and it never bothers her for me to remind her to put that verse on there. She's so used to that when she went to pour Miss Melissa's blend, she asked me what verse did I want on the label. And I got to perfectly customize that. I got to name the blend, which I'm not sharing that here because, again, not my story to tell. But I got to name the blend. I got to pick the verse. I got to do all of the things. And it wasn't a custom blend. It was a single oil. But it took us 3 oil suppliers to find it. But I got to name the pour. And I got to pick the verse. And she promised me she'll keep it on hand so that we can take care of my sweet friend, just like she always keeps the supplies on hand to make Evelyn's blends so that my Rita can have her mama close. Again, not many vendors would be that invested in the lives of their customers to understand the importance of the scent memories of these blends. And so I feel like Miss Beth deserves the biggest shout out because she truly uses her wax business like a ministry. I don't know if you've recently gotten an order from Beth and Matt, but on their little card with their melting tips, it just says thank you. If you've ever turned that over, read the back of, turn that card over and read the back of it. If you haven't, please do that. Turn that card over, read the back of it. You will understand just how deeply Miss Beth and her family love you. And they don't love you because you're their customer. They love you because they love people. I beg you to read that card and to reach out to either Miss Beth or myself if you have questions about anything that is on that card, because that card is so much more than wax melting tips. For some of you, that little card will change your life. And I just think it is so special that we have a wax vendor in our community who is so invested in the lives of her customers that it goes so far beyond just a business and truly becomes a mission. It becomes a ministry. And yes, I have made this video way long after I said it was going to be quick. I'm sorry. Y'all know I do this. But she fully deserves that shout out. And I just want to say thank you, Beth, because your heart means more than you'll ever know. And when I can give those moments to my precious friends that mean so much, just because you were willing to work until we got the perfect, exactly what I envisioned, that's a part of your ministry too. The continual comfort that you provide through your blends, that is a part of your ministry too, and I'll never be able to thank you enough. But I hope that this complete rave will maybe, just maybe, get you a new customer or two, because you deserve it. And I thank you, sweet friend, for everything that you have done, and for the fact that I don't have to worry about running out of these special blends, because it's really easy. You want these things to be important to us. You want these things to be meaningful. And thank you for never making us feel like a bother when we ask you to do something. Anyway, now that I have rambled for way longer than I should, that's what I have for the week. And until I see you again, my friends, please remember that I love you. And please, have a blessed day on purpose.